back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, happy 4th of July to all my American friends who are stateside, to all those deployed, and whatnot. So, yes, it's the obvious movie today, folks. You can't go on the 4th of July without putting on Independence Day. Just saying. So before I say hello or get going with the review, let's say hello to the chat. We got Damian Donaldson. Indeed. Vanya, good to see you. Born on the 4th of July, could have easily been today's review. Admit it. I've never seen it. And Dazed and Confused, I have no idea. I haven't seen those ones either. And yes, hello there, Orange, if that is indeed your real name. Swinging by for a little bit, say hello. Thank you, man. How you doing, Steve? Good to see you. Neozoic. Howdy, everybody. And chat, happy Independence Day, 4th of July. Indeed. And it is somewhat hot in here, so there, let's turn that on. Could always use a little bit of because we're getting a heat wave right now up here in the Adirondacks. So yes, the 4th of July, the pinnacle of 4th of July movies, in my opinion. It's not a perfect movie. The effects have definitely dated themselves. A lot of stop motion animation that was used before and whatnot. But Independence Day, great movie. Yes, it stars Will Smith, that everybody thinks is a freaking cuck nowadays, because it kind of is. And thank you, Davian. And however, it also stars Jeff Goldblum, Judd Nelson, Judd Hirsch, Bill Pullman. Great movie. Let me get the talking points up here, because there are a few things that I actually did want to cover from my talking points. It's always good to have talking points during a stream. Not a script for your stream. If you're a person like me, I can't do scripting. I honestly can't do scripting, because it'd be like I'm trying to say one thing and it's turning into something totally different, you know? I go off script like the president, just not as bad as the president. Let's just say that. So, hope you're all doing well. I don't know why I got 5 people in here. That is awesome. Thank you so much to all who are in this chat so far. But yes, Roland Emmerich directed Independence Day. Bill Pullman, Jeff Goldblum, Mary McDonnell, I believe she plays Connie Spano, or Connie Levinson, rather. Judd Hirsch, Margaret Collin. Actually, I think that could have been her. Anyway, Randy Quaid, who kind of went nuts in the later years. Brent Spiner, Harvey Fierstein, Adam Baldwin, and Robert Loggia, who is now no longer with us. R.I.P. to Robert Loggia. A movie that for its time was entertaining and fun, still is for some. So the movie starts on July 2nd. We see the get that out of there. We see the moon, and we see the first steps and the plaque on the moon. And the first steps literally being erased as the ship that is going over it just obliterates the first steps on the moon due to the gravitational vibrations. Great introduction to a movie. This movie basically says, well, Earth's about to get some visitors, and the destruction of the first step due to the sheer weight does kind of hint that they might not be nice, you know? Oh, boys, I'm back! Yes. There are so many great lines in this movie. Seriously, so many great lines. And I'm not just reviewing the movie Independence Day. I'm reviewing its extended director's cut edition, which is a full 8 minutes longer than the original. There are scenes that they put back in fully, what's the word? Fully finished and whatnot. Because I have seen extended cuts that do not have the full finish, like No Way Home. Holy crap, did they not finish that movie fully? you got some bad CGI in that one. But this one, they did the best they could with what they had, and it worked for 1996. So yes, also July, folks, is 90s mystery reviews. These movies are all 90s. A couple of them will actually be 30 years old this year. So yeah, there's a couple of movies with major hints, because next week's is literally a 30-year-old film. And it still holds up today with its grandiosity. Spare no expense. Let's get to it. So we then see people on Earth and their daily lives. The moon, or SETI, search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and this guy is just playing putt-putt. And you see the guy that's from The Mummy in this movie he's like the head at SETI, and they start getting a signal. And it's just really, it's like, I mean, I can't really replicate it, but that's the best as I could do. And so he calls his boss, and he's like, "Sir, he picks up the phone. If this isn't an insanely beautiful woman, I'm hanging up. Sir, you may want to listen to this." Puts the receiver to the signal thing, and he gets up really quick, smashing his head. He's like, "God damn it, sir." And so they find out that the source is coming from the moon. Well, that can't be right. Hey, good to see you, rhetorical thrill. And yes, you punched the president? My God. I mean, Judd Hirsch, I believe, is German in this film, or Hebrew, or he's Hebrewish. He's Jewish in the film. And yes, Randy Quaid. It really is sad that the dude went out of his mind. How would you compare Independence Day with other Roland Emmerich films, such as Universal Soldier? Great movie. Stargate. Good movie. Godzilla 98. Bad movie. The Patriot. Good movie. Day After Tomorrow. Good movie. 2012. Haven't seen it. White House Down. Have seen it. Good movie. White House Down was a good movie. So yeah. Day After Tomorrow, really liked it. A lot of these people want climate change this, climate change that. It's like, yeah, well, in this, it's actually entertaining. So then we're getting the military and everybody waking up, and DC is starting to freak out because, well, the Pentagon is on alert as they are aware of the ship. We get introductions to President Whitman, Bill Pullman, and he did well as a president. I mean, dude, it's like, if you were a real president and this shit happened, you're getting reelected after the speech he gave. The first family, the little girl, Connie, is, I think, press secretary or secretary of state. It's never really made clear what she is. And the president's approval is dropping, and we see interference due to a satellite being destroyed. Now, this satellite, folks, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but that satellite that gets destroyed by the ship has a mini Death Star on top of it. It looks like a mini Death Star. I just caught that today while I was watching the film over a couple hours ago. And I'm thinking to myself, what on earth? How did I never pick up on that? Because it seriously does look like a little Death Star. And then you see it get destroyed. You see everybody, this movie does a wonderful job in introducing the main players, which is good storytelling. And a little later, they introduce the West Coast players, Will Smith, Vivica A. Fox, and the little kid who played Dylan, and Buckwheat, and so many other roles during the 90s, who they couldn't get back for the sequel, even though the sequel wasn't that good. Entertaining, but not that good. So, we then are also introduced to David, Jeff Goldblum, and his father, Judd Hirsch. Chess extended scene because they have a little bit of a scene, but he talks a little bit more on the marriage and whatnot before he has to go after he checkmates his dad. They ended up aging Judd Hirsch up. They made him grayer in this film, because if you looked at Judd Hirsch back then, he was actually a lot younger, but because they aged him up a little to make him old enough to look like Jeff Goldblum's dad, they show him now, or back in 2016, he looks exactly the same. He hasn't aged. Everybody else has. So it's like, good living, man. Good living after you quit the cigars. But yeah, Harvey Fierstein, man. That dude has such a great voice. It's a grovelly kind of almost raspy, but grovelly kind of voice. And you could definitely tell his flamboyancy and whatnot. He's so great in this movie. It sucks that he dies, but I really do like it, or his character. He's like, David, we got a problem here. Why don't you just switch to a different satellite? Oh, do you think I would call you if it wasn't simple? It really is great. Oh, I gotta call my mother. And he's hiding under a table. I know, Ma, just try to stay calm. I gotta call my mother. I gotta call my brother. I gotta call my lawyer. Forget my lawyer. It's just so great. And they have satellite disruption. And you also realize that David is a health nut, an environment nut. And he works at a TV station. So then we get introduced to Randy Quaid's family, the Cases, and he is a drunken crop duster who dusts the wrong field. Yikes. Chicken legs and big Dumbo ears. Yep. Jesus Christ, Vanya. Just don't hear them say that nowadays. Could be wrong, but isn't one of the protesters Kirsten Warren from Saved by the Bell, the college years? Probably. I am not sure. If it is, good catch, Damien. And his stepson hates him, and his other two kids are actually his, but he grew up without. He grew up with Russell, but he wasn't Russell's own son. He's like, you're not my dad and whatnot. I just remembered the actress who is in the film Independence Day is the one who plays Katara in Avatar: The Last Airbender, played the daughter of the president. No shit. Let me look that up. I gotta look that up. Who played the president's daughter in Independence Day? Well, this thing knew I was looking up Independence Day. That's good. Mae Whitman. No shit. She did play Katara, didn't she? Because I do remember seeing her face. Who played Katara in Avatar, in the Avatar series show. Mae Whitman. There you go. Yeah. Holy crap. It is the same kid. Isn't that interesting? Hey, Rocky the Black Dragon and Geek Detective Pierce. Good to see you. And yeah, man, that good catch, Geek. Good catch, man. So then I love the scene, the intro to Russell Case, man. Randy Quaid, dude, dusts the wrong field. And then he just stumbling falls out of his plane, rolls over to the back end of it. It's like, you dusted the wrong field, you idiot. Lucas's farm is on the other side of town. And then you see that he's like, yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure. I mean, that is a Spanish family behind you. You know? So, yeah. I really do like how they do set up the most of the players. And then the ships start deploying. 36 of them start entering the atmosphere, parking over major population centers. Northern Desert, Iraq, flaming sky. The Persian Gulf fleet is freaking out. The Californian coastline. Russian news reports one heading for Moscow. And then we see the AWAC is destroyed as they are approaching the Pacific coast. That AWAC one was pretty dumb, in my opinion. It's like, I'm sorry, but if you see a clearing sky that is flaming orange through the clouds, either pull or dive or pull up, do something, it's fire. Why else would you fly towards something that looks to be fire before you see it? That it just irked me a lot. I'm sorry, it did. How would you compare Independence Day with other alien invasion films like War of the Worlds? Good movie. The Thing, haven't seen it. I know, hate me. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, good movie. They Live, fucking awesome movie. I did a mystery review on that one, I do believe. Check out my playlist, folks. Mystery reviews, all caps. You should be able to find all the ones that I did. So, after the reveal of these ships, when they're showing all the ships finally being revealed from the clouds, that was good work. The president stays in D.C. he gets his entire cabinet out. Joint Chiefs of Staffs and the Vice President all go to NORAD. And David sees his wife on TV from the White House reporting that, I mean, this movie does such a great job with the panic factor. I mean, just imagine what would you do? What would you do if you saw something like that on Earth? You'd probably freak out. You don't know if these things are hostile. You don't know any of that yet. So, yeah, you'd probably freaking freak out. Me, I'd have my freaking guns at the ready in case these bastards became hostile. Not that they would do any good. They have shields. But I'd still be ready. So, not that up here is anything special because they only wiped out the cities. So, David also finds out God damn it. He finds out the signal and that it's recycling. Russ is fired. Now, I love how when they show the scene where Russ got fired and is heckled by the drunken assholes, they're playing Rumble, the old Indian dun, 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 with 3 strums of a guitar. I did that as a guest choice review with Rosetta Allen on my guest choice review playlist. So the part when one of the staff members explains that the object is slowing down, yep. The general's surprised at the revelation. I found it odd back then, but the ships looked pretty cool when we saw it, yeah. And so then we're introduced to Will Smith and Vivica Fox. Tapping Vivica in the 90s, dude. That would have been top tier shit. The ships arrive in the 3 cities. The reactions are so great. Even the freaking homeless guy with a freaking Burger King crown. It's like, what the fuck? You see a cop getting out of his car. You see this freaking trash truck smash into the truck, into the freaking cop car. He just looks back and he's like, what? I mean, they sell it so freaking great. You actually see these reactions are just so genuine. It's like, holy crap, man. I mean, I would have been freaking out too. Anyone else look closely at the maps where the aliens are going to attack to make sure they you live far enough away from them? I know I do. I live up in the Adirondacks, northern New York, far away from any major city in the state. Thank God they didn't hit Syracuse. Because that's where most of my father's side of the family lived at the time, and still do. So, Iman, good to see you. Happy 4th of July, man. Everybody is, yes. There is not really the director's cut does add a little bit of weakness to the film, but for the most part, it does add a lot more excitement to it. It's just because the deleted scenes from the theatrical trailer, or theatrical edition, into the director's cut, Troy, Russell's son, who gets sick in the theatrical cut of the movie, it explains why he gets sick. You think it is just him having car sickness. No, it's not. He has a problem. He has a health issue. A problem with his adrenal cortex, is what they say in the film. And so when he starts blasting outside of his camper, and they're looking for freaking medicine, after Russell gets out of jail, his oldest son wants to leave without him. They actually increase the drama between the family, showing what's going on with the family, because his father, or the oldest son, doesn't like him. And it looks like we got a yeah, I'm going to take care of this guy. Ban user and delete comments. You don't get to do that, folks. Sorry for that, spammer, folks. It seems that I've still been suffering from them. I really enjoyed Jeff. Yes, I mean, he is the top character in this film. How will you compare Will Smith's role among other movies? Bad Boy. This was peak with him. This was actually peak with him. He got the cut loose in this one. I laughed a lot at this one. He did good in this one. He's good in Men in Black, yes. He's good in Bad Boys, yes. He's good in, I haven't seen Pursuit of Happiness. I, Robot and Hancock and Ali I have seen. I like Will Smith as an actor. I think he's a fucking cuck in real life because of, and an asshole for slapping Chris Rock just because Chris Rock told the fucking joke. But I like him as an actor in his 90s and early 2000 movies. I really do. I haven't seen the third Men in Black film, but yeah. So yeah, the kid Hector, and another one. Goodbye. Yeah. You spamming my freaking thing, you are going to be getting immediately banned. So, now that's over. And do I have any mods in the chat? Have I made any of you mods in the chat? If I haven't, please let me know. So, yeah, the youngest brother Troy is coming out when you see the oldest one, Miguel, arguing with his father. And he's like, who has to beg and grovel when you screw up and can't pay for Troy's medicine? Who? And while Troy destroys his freaking medicine, he's like, I'm so sick of medicine. That's all I ever have to take is medicine. And he's sick of his kid, or he's sick of the freaking arguing between Miguel and his father. So, yeah, it's understandable that this kid is indeed distraught. Vincent Garzon. Dude, if you're spamming, I'm about to ban your ass too. So, yeah, you can put all of your stuff in one comment or be gone. So, The next scene is, what is the next scene? Because of all these fucking spammers on the 4th of July. Let's see here. Will Smith, or the reactions of Will Smith. He thinks it's an earthquake when the ship comes in, so then he sees it's not. I love the reactions. Other countries have ships over their capitals. Dave tells Marty to get the hell out of town because he realizes it's not just a countdown. Will Smith is called into duty, and David tries calling Connie when the president is addressing the nation. And we see him say, if you feel the need to leave these cities, please do so in an orderly fashion. And then you cut straight to freaking panic, which was such a great shot. I mean, this movie has so many great moments, folks. It really does. To cover them all, I would basically have to go for the full 2 hours plus just to cover every freaking scene because they're so great, in my opinion. The film also sells the danger very well. This first lady is asked to leave LA by her husband because she's over in the West Coast. I guess it is an election year, so she's probably campaigning for him. David and his father are driving to D.C. Russ was arrested and bailed out. Will Smith arrives in El Toro after he leaves, and Harry Connick Jr. is his wingman. And he ends up, I can't see the chat anymore. That's odd. Weird. Well, let me pay attention to the chat on my phone then if I can't see it anymore. That's odd. StreamYard, get your shit together. Media, turn it off. Sorry about that, folks. Thank you to Neozoic. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Vince Garzon, dude, your ass is actually going to be banned. Because now I saw what he was actually saying and whatnot, you piece of shit. Can you see that? Yes, I can, Davian. Okay, good. It seemed that either y'all were entranced with the freaking stream that you forgot to comment or whatever. I don't know. I'm not so full of myself that I would think you are literally entranced. But yes, I see it. Thank you, Davian. But yeah, I don't know what it is with all. And we got another one. Add user from the channel. Jeez. So, yep. So, fun fact, idea of Independence Day came from when the reporter asked Emmerich the question of why he made Stargate if he is not an alien believer. Then Roland Emmerich turned to Devlin and said, I have an idea. Nice. The part of David arguing with his father on the way to DC, amusing. They want HBO, they'll call you. Yeah. That actually is an extended scene too, dude. They actually extend the trip to DC. Because there's a scene where suddenly he's the only guy trying to get in while all the other people are trying to get out. They start doing panicking by going over the divide and start trying. And he's like, "Oh shit!" So Judd Hirsch has to dodge all of these other freaking people. So yeah, it's like, good driving, Pops. Yeah. It really is great. But yeah, that is a pretty good idea, or a pretty good effect. So we then see, let me get back to the thing here. All these freaking spammers are getting on my nerves and kind of throwing me off. I'm sorry about that, folks. Will Smith is denied space shuttle from NASA. He wants to fly a space shuttle, but his girlfriend's a stripper, so they kind of said no. We then see that there's an extension from that scene where after she leaves the stage because nobody's paying attention to her while she's shaking her ass, they extend her friend Nikki, who wants to go there, and she's like, "No, I've saved your life before," and she's like, "Remember when I told you not to go to Vegas? And you did anyway, and you lost all your money." Yeah, but I didn't, or I wasn't in LA for the earthquake. And I'm going to do more than just, I think I'm definitely the most, or I have the most banned people on my channel. Anyway, so we then see how she's like, or she tells her friend not to go, but then her boss comes out. They brought out all the freaking Italians. I'm telling you. You had that general who's an Italian, and then you have another guy who looks kind of like him, but is also another Italian. Mario was the boss's name. The dog was there, and so when she's like, "I'm leaving town" and whatnot, and she's like, "You try finding a babysitter today," you know. And so we then see that Dave is looking for his wife, and he hasn't found her name yet. In the theatrical edition, he's calling her, or getting ready to call her, and they shorten up the digital phone book, and he's searching for Spunky Spano, Chai Spano, Connie Spano. Did you try Levinson? Well, she never used my name or my last name when we were married. Try it. All right, whatever, Connie. Oh yeah, what do I know? He types in Connie Levinson, and then he triangulates her position in the White House, which is nice. And it's the scene in the White House that I really want to get into, which is very cool. And they're getting ready for the communication. Now, there's a small extended scene there, too, with Judd Hirsch. He's like, "I cannot believe that I'm standing in the White House. Look at this place. All the famous people that have been here. Celebrities, actors, senators, and now me." And then he couldn't help but freaking, Jeff Goldblum couldn't help but riff his father a little bit. He's like, "Yes, a poor immigrant like me, or a poor immigrant like me. It's a dream." He's like, "David, shush. So we then get to the satellite disruption scene. And apparently David has punched punched the president. He wasn't a president at the time and whatnot, because he thought that his wife was having an affair. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, dude, you punched the president? It's like, my God. Now, if you watch this movie with subtitles, they get the subtitles wrong in a lot of the different scenes. When he says, "Oh my God," it's actually not. He's saying, "Mein Gott," which is "my God." Independence Day, the invasion of spammers. Yeah, right? And we got another one. And another one. I am so sorry for this, folks. It's not going to get me to turn off the damn stream, but it is going to, but it does somewhat bother me. There we go. Oh, the user was blocked. Okay, good. So then he triangulates his wife's position in the White House, which was pretty nuts. Hold on 1 second, folks. I got to step away. I'm back. All righty, I'm back. So, yeah. What the hell? So, we then see, or the scene where he's explaining the problems with the ships and that they are a threat is just so well. They're using our own satellites against us, and then he turns the timetable to him, and the clock is ticking. And, yeah. Pizza sauce, do you want to be banned too? I have no problem doing it. Because if you keep on spamming, I am gonna kick your ass out of my stream. Well, too bad. You spammed. You're from Philly. I don't give a fuck if you're from Philly, man. But so yeah, I'm sorry, folks. There's tons of fucking spammers. And so now the president is ready to leave, and he tells the chopper that's rigged with a communication device to pull back, except that the aliens blow the chopper out of the sky. So now it's confirmed they're all hostile. And that's when Jasmine's friend is getting up in LA on that building. And the police are trying to tell them, get lost. You have to evacuate the place immediately. It's like, I'm sorry, but if I was the police officer in that chopper, I would have been like, they're hostile. They just attacked us in Washington, D.C. Evacuate. Not that it would have done any good. They were all dead in a second. So, yeah. We then see Jasmine is on the highway or in the tunnels trying to get out and whatnot. And we see that they're opening up, and it's like, oh crap. And I love how they're cutting between different cities all simultaneously. And DC is getting out of there. They're all getting to the Air Force One just as the timer stops, and then you see the pulsing, and then the ships just blast down into or goodbye Empire State, goodbye White House, goodbye whatever that building was in LA. Now, the outrunning of the flame by Air Force One was so freaking great because it shows that well, this thing is like 30 seconds behind. But yeah, it shows the Air Force One as the flames are chasing after it, which is so great because these flames are destroying everything in their path. Now, when they attack, man, it's like, oh crap, dude. You also see Marty, who's the raspy guy voice, Harvey Fierstein. He's like, oh crap. And he just gets crushed by a car. The dude up in the office gets slaughtered. Now, when you see that building get destroyed and you see the wire frame of the building, that's another mistake because you see the building literally wobbling like this as the flames are pushing up against it. I also do love how the flames are slow spreading at first, and then they speed up as they get further out. I mean, that was just great work on the production side. And it really is so freaking cool to see. Jasmine survives by running to a maintenance room area inside the tunnel, and she calls her dog Boomer, and Boomer survives as well, because you can't kill a dog. I swear to God, if Altiori saw this movie and saw, or I don't know if she ever did a review for Independence Day. I think she did. I'm gonna have to look it up, because I guarantee you, she's gonna be like, "Please let the dog survive. Please let the dog survive." How would I compare Jeff Goldblum's role with other roles such as Jurassic Park? Well, funny thing, Jeff Goldblum does a Jurassic Park line in this film. But he's great in Jurassic Park. He's great in The Fly. He's great. I have not seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers or The Big Chill, Grandmaster in the MCU. Jeff Goldblum plays Jeff Goldblum, man. He's just so great. My apologies. I'm not leaving because of the stupid spammers. Yeah, I know, Damien. Thank you for coming in, dude, and enjoy the replay when you get a chance. I am so sorry that you had to go, or that shit was in this chat. But yeah. So take it easy, Damien, and thank you for coming in, bub. So then we see the aftermath seeing the aftermath, and the date come up, July 3rd. It is just so great. Lady Liberty is in the water. Russell's family and Troy is now sick because he threw away his medicine. Air Force One the president is second guessing his decisions. We could have evacuated the cities hours ago, and it's like it's just not simple anymore. Or everything, we knew who we were fighting. Now it's just not so simple anymore. A lot of people died today. How many didn't have to? That is such a great line. A lot of people died today. How many didn't have to? So then we hear that her chopper, or Mrs. Whitmore's chopper, never made it to Nellis. And she ended up, crashing and no contact further. So, we see that Jasmine survived, and we then get to the counterattacks in New York, DC, and LA. They only show the LA one because that's where Will Smith is attacking, or is leading his striker, or his counterstrike. And we learn, these aliens have shields, and the little ones have shields, and holy shit, they got fighters themselves. Now, they were using F-18s, which were, I believe, starting to get more new at the time. So apparently they had a lot of F-18s. Or I'm guessing maybe the F-22 was just starting production in 96. I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up. When was the F-18 made? 1983. Holy shit. So F-18s and F-15s and F-16s were all freaking ready by even Top Gun standard. Huh. Well, all right, let's go with F-22. 2005. So, yeah, F-18s were basically the mass production of our Air Force. So, I do like how Will Smith has his lines. He's like, "Oh, no, you did not shoot that green shit at me, man." And then he's in the Grand Canyon. From LA to the Grand Canyon, man. Because that's the only place where I know where there are canyons is the Grand Canyon. So, we then see him escape the canyon. Low fuel, he has to eject. Also, El Toro gets wiped off the face of the map. I mean, when they do the planes and whatnot, you can tell dated effects are there, folks. The F-18 sequences are all very much dated with when they're getting destroyed, when they're fighting against aliens. There's a nice little scene where you actually see what would happen when the aliens fire their thing or their projectiles at the shields of the ship. They don't have to worry about friendly fire because you see the diffusion in the shield. However, when you see the shield with the missiles and whatnot, you see a bloom of the shield where when you see the energy from the ships hit the shield, it's just a nice little diffusion, and that's it. So when the commercials for the movie, my dumbass sister thought real aliens were attacking. Oh my God, that is so great. That is so hilarious. Good to see you, Vanya. Good to see you. So we then see Steve is the Case family needs medicine because Troy's sick. Everybody's moving out. And we get another little extended scene where this curly-haired boy gives some penicillin to the family, and the girl just doesn't want to die a virgin. So she's like, oh, I'm going with you. Her father just looking at her. Russell Case is like, he's passing by. He's like, oh, I mean, we're going with you. And it's like, tell that little punk to shut the door. We're getting the hell out of here. It's just so freaking great. Modern reimagined War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Major differences, bub. Major differences. They weren't after, or water was, or freaking germs killed them. Where these ones were super high tech. I'm gonna have to watch War of the Worlds again because I haven't seen it in so long. But major differences from what I remember. So also the Welcome to Earth. I'm sorry, I did skip that because he's coming down with his parachute and just crashes to the ground with his parachute, and he's like, "Yeah, that's what you get." And then he's like, "Get off me! Get off of me!" He couldn't get the thing off of him. So then he's like, who's the man? Ship all banged up. Wait until I get another plane. I'm lining up all your friends right beside you. So then the ship opens up, and you see the alien come out. I'm sorry, man. That kind of ugly shit would have gotten me to jump right back. To be completely honest, yes, I will throw down, but that would have gotten me to jump back a little bit. He just goes right on in. Boom! Welcome to Earth. It is such a great freaking line. So we then see the next scene with the extended with Russell Case telling the kid or telling his daughter to shut the freaking door. And well, then we learn that the talk of nukes on Air Force One, NORAD's been taken out, and David overheard the talk of nukes. He's like, or he's not supposed to be in that room, but everybody's trying to shut him up. And then Julius comes in, and you see the president look and see Julius, and then he's like, oh boy, here we go. You see what's about that. And then the SecDef is like, shut up, Captain, get him out of here. And he's like, don't you tell him to shut up. You'd all be dead now if it wasn't for my David. Nothing, or none of you did anything to prevent this. There was nothing we could do. We were totally unprepared. Don't get me unprepared. And then we learned the Roswell, New Mexico played brilliantly with this scene, with this movie. Because Roswell was starting to be more talked about during that time, so they started talking about the Roswell, New Mexico, and they implemented it for this movie, which is so great. Area 51 got outed, so it's like, oh shit. And let me close off that window. So yeah, it's like Area 51, sir. No matter what you may have read in our tabloids, there has never been an alien craft intercepted by our government. I'm sorry, there is no alien or Area 51. There is no spaceship, and they're trying to get him out gently. Sir, that isn't entirely accurate. And the freaking president is like, oh, you son of a bitch. And freaking Julius is looking at the president like, you're saying? And that was just such a great scene. The writing of this film is so good. I like how later on the father points out the hypocrisy of not just the president, but the staff later when they escape the destruction, right? Yeah. It is absolutely top tier, man. And because Julius is one of those he's the hippie generation. And so or when they get to Area 51, he's like, well, you don't think they spend $30,000 on a toilet seat and $20,000 on a hammer? It's such a great line. Hey, yeah, yep. Exact lines. Don't you tell him to shut up. You'd all be dead now if it wasn't for my David. Yeah. And so we then, let's see here. We then see, or cut into, there's small cuts with Jasmine. And there are extended scenes because you see that she finds the truck that she's driving through. She grabs a few injured people, and then they find the first lady. There's so much in between where there's this Bible dude that literally freaking ashes a cross over his head. The end has come. He speaks his word, and the end has come. And they're trying to get to El Toro, but that guy doesn't care. He's just going nuts. And you find that they have other people that they find, and then they find the first lady. It's not just they cut it down a lot in this film. 8 minutes or a full 8 minutes that honestly do work for the most part. They really do work for the most part. But then they find the first lady, and then they arrive at Area 51. Or before they arrive at Area 51, we get Steve dragging the alien through the desert with its dreadlocks hanging out the back of his parachute. You got to come down here with an attitude, acting all big and bad. And what the hell is that smell? And he just starts kicking the alien. I love that. He starts just kicking the alien, man. And he's just like kicking him and kicking him and kicking him. I could have been in a barbecue. And then he's like, but it's all right. I ain't mad. I ain't mad at all, man. It's all right. Simultaneous attack by the ships was flipping awesome when it was made by the crew who worked on the... Yes, right? Yes. And so that's when Russell Case meets Will Smith, and they're all heading towards Area 51 because when he flew overhead, he saw a base near here. So it's like, ain't on the map. Oh, trust me, it's there. And Russell is even dragging his biplane, or is even has his biplane latched up to the back. And believe me, that's important for later. Everybody thinks that the biplane is no longer relevant, except that in the original draft of Independence Day, that biplane was the one that saved the world, not an F-18. So I'll discuss that when we get to the final battle. So arrival at Air Force One, and we get introduced to Adam Baldwin's Major Mitchell, and we learn that the Secretary of Defense has been hiding this from the president. It is absolutely freaking nuts. You know what? I won't or don't need the phone anymore. So I will stop that to get rid of the buffer, because I believe there is some buffering. There. Okay, good, done. And so the arrival at Air Force 51, we then meet Brett Spiner, which is Professor Oaken. And folks, get this. Professor Oaken and Isaacs are gay because of one thing. They made them gay in the second film because of a look that Oaken's boyfriend gives him. A look that the boyfriend gives Oaken or that the character gives Oaken suggests that there's a homosexual tie. And this was from the mouth of Roland Emmerich. And I'm thinking to myself, why? But hey, man, whatever. It worked. Because it's like, you never see them talking to each other. I mean, you see Brent Spiner freaking yell at him in the extended edition, of course. But yeah. And then, let's see here. The Vault, or they see the ship, the Vault, the Freak Show, or as Brent Spiner in this movie was so perfect for this role. This is the Vault, or as some of us have come to call it, the Freak Show. Click, 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 and it's like, wow, dude. I just love how he played that. So then we see how David has cracked some of the code and whatnot, or in the president's anger at the Secretary of Defense, the motorhome caravan finds Area 51, and there's an extended scene what we see is that there is Oaken coming out and saying, oh boy, let's get him into containment stat. That's all you see of the outside scene in the movie. Well, in the extended edition, you see Russell Case is pleading for a doctor because his son is dying. At this point, the kid is dying because he hasn't had any medicine to get to assist with the medical condition. So when the other doctor is trying to open the door, Case grabs him and slams him up. He's like, if you don't help my son right now, or if you don't help him right now, my son will die. And you see Brent Spiner, he's like, okay, then help him. And it is just so freaking great because it shows that this man is truly desperate for help. And he doesn't give a flying fuck about an alien whose species abducted him 10 years prior. It's like, I don't give a fuck about that. Just help my son before he dies. And you see that Miguel is actually quite impressed with his father's display here. Because originally, he wanted to leave Russell behind. So, yeah, it's a great scene. I need to drink water. And so we then, let's see here. We then learned that the alien this alien force knew exactly where and how to hit all the cities. And in 36 hours, and it's basically in the next 36 hours, every major city will be destroyed. And this is when Jasmine, or they cut later on, or the president wants to see the live alien. And Will Smith asks the general, he's like, I'm really anxious to get back to El Toro. And he's like, hasn't anybody told you El Toro's been completely destroyed? And so he's now fearing for Jasmine. Jasmine just arrives at El Toro, but they still take refuge among the ruins and whatnot. And so she starts talking with the First Lady, explaining, she's like, I didn't really want to say anything. I voted for the other guy. Which was a nice little scene there. And so then we get to the alien attack in the lab, where they cut open the biomechanical suit and it just shoots open, giving you all a really big jump scare. I mean, it's like, and it's like, oh shit! Everybody freaking jumped. And then you see Brent Spiner. He's like, oh, okay, here's the really icky part. And that's when it starts waking up. Because apparently, this biomechanical suit is so frail that getting punched in a biomechanical suit is enough to knock an alien unconscious. Explain that to me. That is a flaw, folks. An objective flaw. So, we then see that it wakes up, starts getting into Oaken's mind, setting him off, and basically paralyzing him. Oaken was originally supposed to die in this film. However, he doesn't die. He's in a coma for fucking 7,300 days. For 20 years. A coma for 20 years, man. Imagine that. But I love the interaction. Now, if you watch the... I've watched on my laptop Independence Day. And the sound is terrible on my laptop. I watch it on TV, you get the good communication between Bill Pullman and the alien. If I watch it on a laptop, you barely hear Bill Pullman speaking. You can hear everything else. You can barely hear him speaking. So don't ever watch this on the digital way unless you got great sound on your laptop, ma'am. Gonna say that right now. Just want to point that out. So he asks, or when they think it's Dr. Oaken, then they realize there's a thing wrapped around his neck. Terrible CGI for the alien, man. I'm telling you, it's just terrible CGI. Using the practical effects were way better. But when it jumps down and is looking around and whatnot, it's telling them to release him. And they ask, it's like, I'm sure there's much we can learn from each other if we can negotiate a truce. We can find a way to coexist. Can there be a peace between us? And it's like, peace? No peace. What is it you want us to do? Die. And then it starts psychically attacking the president. And so they end up blasting the hell out of it. Now, I love how in the second movie, they actually find a way to block psychic signals. So that's pretty cool. It has an isolation chamber. So we then see, he's like, I saw its thoughts. I saw what they planned to do. And he's like, they're like locusts. They move from planet to planet, consuming every natural resource, and then they move on. And we're next. So let's nuke them. Let's nuke the bastards. Well, this is when David starts getting drunk. And, yeah. David starts getting real drunk. And, well, Connie tries talking with him. And he's like, so I wasn't ambitious enough, or you could have done anything you wanted, research and what. He's like, honey, I was happy where I was. Didn't you ever want to be part of something special? And then he slams the bottle back or down. I was part of something special, but that. And she was like, well, for what it's worth, I never stopped loving you. But that wasn't enough, was it? Now, this is when, let's see here. Will Smith then takes the chopper to find Jasmine, which is nice. And the guard lets him go because he's like, you just tell him I hit you. You just tell him I hit you. So then we get the nuke mission where Houston, Texas has a bunch of stealth fighters heading in. Ground control. 1 second. Nope. Sorry, I had to mute for a second. There was a weird sound outside. Kind of piercy. But we then see them getting ready, and it's like targets are locked on. And the nuke is sent, but if you pay close attention, folks, when you see the nuke hit, you see the shield widen. You see the shield react. And then you lose picture, and you see the freaking Secretary of Defense going, yeah, that's a hit, and everybody's celebrating. And it's like, we need visual confirmation that the target has been destroyed. Everybody's still celebrating. We need visual confirmation that the target's been destroyed. Negative. Target remains. Everybody's celebrating. What? Target remains. Call the other fighters back. Well, they might have better chance. We don't want to give up on this. Call them back. Hey, Kamen Rider, good to see you. Because he tells him, call them back. Full abort. It's like, we just dropped one nuke over American soil. We're sure as hell not going to try another one if it failed. I mean, you didn't even scratch their shields. You think more nukes are going to do it? You'll kill everybody else. We already now have to deal with a radiation cloud. So then Will Smith arrives at El Toro, and he gets the First Lady there, but the First Lady is dying. They couldn't get to her fast enough. And I gotta tell you, when Bill Pullman, he sells it really well, man. When the daughter is like, is mommy sleeping now? Yes, mommy's sleeping. And he's trying to, you see that he's actually trying to cry. He doesn't do a good job. I don't think that Bill Pullman can cry can cry really well back then on screen, on command. But when he is walking out like this and everybody looks, it really does sell that this man has just lost his wife and he is shattered. How would I compare Bill Pullman's roles with other films? Spaceballs, Lake Placid, Casper, Accidental Tour. Bill Pullman is a great actor. His son, who was in Top Gun Maverick, is also a good actor too. I can't remember his son's name. I think it's Will or William Pullman or something like that. But Bill Pullman's kid is very good in the roles that I've seen him do. Spaceballs, he was great. Lake Placid, he was great. Casper, oh my God, he was hilarious in Casper. So then we get to July 4th. And David is now making a mess. His father, he's like, I'm making a mess. Yes, this I could see. And he's like, we need to dump toxic waste. We need to burn down the rainforest, rip up the ozone layer. And, well, that's when Julius talks him into an idea. He's like, I haven't talked we got to focus on what we still have. Like what? Well, you still have your health. Now, come on, get up off of this cold floor before you catch cold. And then he's like, what did you just say? What, about faith? Well, when a man... No, the other part. What? I didn't want you to catch cold. And then he has the brain-busting idea, and he goes over to the black scientist guy. I can't remember his name. But he's like, get everybody down here right now. Now, in the theatrical edition, you see him look up like, what? But in the when he says, get everybody down here right now, and then leaves the screen, that's when they cut. But you still hear him say, what? When in the next scene where everybody's huddling up like, all right, Connie, what the hell's going on? I have no idea. So then I love how Dave's just in full-blown soberness. And he's like, Major Mitchell, have you got a gun? Or you got a pistol? What? You got a gun? And he's like, Sergeant, your sidearm. So he's like, you see that Coke can? Can you shoot that? You think you could shoot that thing up there? And he defers to the president. He's like, sir, go ahead. Well, we see the shields. Now, folks, if I remember correctly, when I originally saw Independence Day, the shields and the insides of the ship were very green. Tell me if I'm wrong, please. It could just be a Mandela effect. But ever since I saw the special edition, the extended edition, they've been more of a turquoise blue. So it's like, am I just totally not seeing it right? Please let me know. Every time I see Bill Pullman in other movies, I expect someone going to say, Lone Star. Yeah, right? I am your cousin's, uncle's, brother's, yada, yada, yada roommate. It's like, what the fuck? So, yeah. I love if you really hear it, or if you really have a good sound system, you hear everything. You hear the bullet ricocheting, then you hear Will Smith, what the hell are you doing? He's like, that Coke can is protected by the shield, and we can't get it past your defensive. We know that already. What's your point? Well, then he's like, Major, or we got to get around him. So, Major, one more time, anytime. He shoots and hits the can this time. How'd you do that? I gave it a cold. I gave it a virus, a computer virus. And we get the big plan to set off a signal and an explosion to disorient the ships. How long will their shields be down? I don't know, a matter of minutes. And the fucking Secretary of Defense is just totally against this because he's already been made a fool of so many different times. And he's like, you want us to launch a counteroffensive or a worldwide counteroffensive based on the window of only a few minutes? With their shields down, it might be possible. Well, and then he's like, I mean, don't be ridiculous. Not to mention, this whole plan is based on the contingent of a ship that nobody on this world is qualified to operate. Will Smith steps up. He's like, I've seen these things in action, and I'm well aware of their maneuvering capabilities. And then he asks the general, I'd like your permission to try. It's like, actually, the general is outranked there by the president. You would actually ask the president there. But I love it. It's like, that thing is a wreck. Crash landed back into the 50s. We don't even know if it's capable of flying. And they do what's known as recycled cutting here. They remove the clamps and they see that the thing floats. So it's like, any questions? So when they go to the scene where they're taking off, they show the clamp being removed and it floating again. That's what's known as repeat or a repeat cycle scene, where they take a cut from earlier in the scene and recycle it when they're doing the editing. And it's like, okay, there you go. So that's a little bit of movie magic for you, folks. And I love that he's like, you really think you could pull that or fly that thing? Do you really think you could do all that bullshit you just said? I just love that. It really is pretty cool. So then the Secretary of Defense is like, I know you are upset about the loss of your wife, but that shouldn't allow you to make another fatal mistake. And so the president just grabs him and he's like, the only mistake I made was appointing a sniveling little weasel like you as Secretary of Defense. However, that's a mistake, fortunately, I could say, I don't have to live with. Mr. Nimzicki, you're fired. So they have to get all or as much pilots as they can to fly all the aircraft that they can get. And we get the Morse code scene. So ships in countries around the world, Russia, Japan, the Middle East, are all reporting ready using Morse code with the counteroffensive. And the plan with the nuke is like, you'll have 30 seconds to get your asses out of there because the nuke won't detonate on impact. So, or is like, don't you think it's kind of cutting it a little close? Oh, we're going to be long gone before we set that thing off. And now Connie doesn't want David to go because, well, they love each other now. And he's like, you know how I'm always trying to save the world? Well, here's my chance. Now he gets ambitious. So then we get the marriage between Jasmine and Will Smith, which is a nice little touch. And Jeff Goldblum and Connie are witnesses, and they kind of hold hands or kind of renew their vows, so to speak. So that's all nice. And then we get the speech where he says, good morning. In a few hours, aircraft around the world will join you in a counteroffensive or in the largest aerial combat of mankind. Mankind, that word should have new meaning. We cannot be consumed by our petty differences anymore. And perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July and you will once again be fighting for our freedom, not from tyranny, persecution, or not from tyranny, something in persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to exist, to live, or to live to exist. And should we win the day, Hello, Angelo Jackson. Good to see you. Taxation and slavery. Yes, it's also theft. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but the day that the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day. Now, I do believe that is actually something that was said during the Revolutionary War. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. I could be wrong, but I do believe that that was actually something that was said back then. I cannot remember if I read it in a history book. But that line, it's like, dude, you just won re-election and there isn't even an election going on. How would you compare the speeches with other famous speeches such as Nicholson in A Few Good Men? Haven't seen it. Crow and Gladiator, great. Rocky Balboa, great. Gibson, great. In Braveheart, Aragorn and Return of the King, great. I mean, you got, these are it's among there with top tiers like those ones. I will definitely say that, Neozoic. It is among there with top tier. They were able to be compatible with alien computer when you can't even be compatible with a Mac and PC wise. Oh, another deleted scene earlier in the scene that I totally glossed over. I'm sorry about this, folks. David gets a tour of the ship, of the alien craft. It's like, this thing, we have no idea how these things were supposed to set up, but these configurations, well, we don't know what exactly this crap is. And David shows him, he's like, that's how they're coordinating with their ships. It's a sequential signal, you see? And then frickin' Oaken's like, you know, you're really starting to make us look bad. That's when they report that there's one that was alive and that they're bringing it in now. It's like, oh shit. And yes, happy 4th of July. Thank you very much, Kamen Rider. So, oh yes, it is. It really is. I mean, Stan Men of the West is, you don't get better, or you get a little bit better than that with the other scenes, but yes. So Russell Case also, oh my God, he had to get a crash course in the F-18, but also he had to stop drinking, and he gives his background. It's like, ever since I was kidnapped by alien 10 years ago, and you see the looks on their faces, it's like, oh my God, this guy, just want you to know, not going to let you down. And it's like, dude, I'd be embarrassed at that too. I'd be very embarrassed at that. So, but so then he's in the F-18. He's like, missile launch. Wait, whoa, shit, oh crap, what did I hit? Oh, thank God. I picked a hell of a day to quit drinking. And then he sees his kids watching him as he's getting ready to take off and shit. So we then see the takeoff of our heroes in the alien craft, and Julius gets his son a couple of barf bags, and Dylan gives his new stepdad, which then becomes his real father in the middle between the movies because he's officially adopted, a hug. And they're getting ready to go. It's like, oh, damn, we can't go. We got to find cigars. We can't do this without cigars. Here, my last two. You are a lifesaver. Almost put a hex on the whole damn thing. Yes, Lewis Pullman. By the way, Geek Detective Pierce, you are like a few minutes behind again. I think you are not up with the live chat right now. But, yeah. Oh, wait, yeah, you might be. I think you went back a little bit to check something. But thank you for that. But, yeah, I was talking about that like 5 minutes ago. It's like, God damn it, are you back? Or are you freaking backed up again in the chat? But, yeah, Lewis Pullman, he looks a lot like his father, too. So they then get on the ship, and it's like, let's do this. Pushes forward because that's the forward. And it's like, oh, crap. turns out that's reverse. Everybody's like, oh my God. And it's like, some idiot is like, oops. So then they take off, and it's great, man. What the hell was I thinking? Oh. And so they get pulled into the mothership, and everybody else is taken off. And, man, let's see here. Bringing the people out. Or they also, or Area 51 has to bring people inside to protect them. So they're doing that. The mothership interior, when they get into the mothership, man, that is truly a freaking trip, dude. It has its own atmosphere, agricultural fields, and its armies and other ships. So they start uploading the virus, and it takes a moment for the shields to go down, because when he launches the first ship, you see the shield absorb the impact. However, if you take a very close look at that shield, you're going to go see Dial of Destiny. Dude, may God have mercy on you if you're going to see the Dial of Destiny soon, dude. Best of luck. God be with you. So, yes, indeed, good luck. But now, as I was saying, if you look at the shield when the president fires his first missile, or you see it, and then you see it kind of fizzle. It's not as grand as the first counterattack that Will Smith was shooting missiles at. So you kind of see that right then and there, it fizzles out. So it's like, I want another shot. So he fires another one against all recommendations, and it's a direct hit. Everybody flies back in, starts blasting the shit out of it. And Russell Case is having fun. Payback's a bitch, ain't it? Now, originally, he was not in this scene. Randy Quaid was not in the scene until the very end, where it's like, sorry, I'm late, Mr. President. That's when he comes back in the scene in the original edit of the movie that is not seen by people. And he's in his biplane, and he fucking stole a missile. No, wait, I don't think he stole a missile. But he does fly into this ship and blow it up the same way, though. So it's not just you. I also saw it in the sort of turquoise bluish color. Yeah, but I always thought it was more green. Originally. So it might be a Mandela effect, because they now have it more turquoise-ish. But so missiles are effective, and then we see that the drone is stuck, that Steve's trying to get unstuck. So they open the windows, and it's like, oh, shit, hide. Judd Hirsch starts prayers, and there's an extended scene with Russell's daughter, and she's like, but I don't want to die a virgin. And the curly-haired guy that gave her penicillin, it's like, if we die, we'll both be virgins, but at least we'll be together. I'm like, you could have totally just skipped that. That was the cringiest fucking line in the entire movie. Folks, I have seen some cringy lines, but it's like, if we die, we'll both be virgins, but at least we'll be together. And I'm like, Roland, you should have left that at least on the cutting floor. You should have left that on the cutting floor. I would have not minded 7 minutes of extra footage. 8 minutes is too long in this case. Oh, it was just the worst line ever, folks. It's like, dude, good on you for being a virgin for as long as you have, and that you're looking for the right gal. But that wasn't delivered well. So, yeah. They're not doing, or we then see that they're not doing enough damage, and that they need to take out the primary weapon. Now, again, Russell Case was not originally involved in the main battle until the last moment, where he uses his biplane to destroy the ship by flying into the laser. However, they did change it up where they give him a missile. However, it's jammed. So they needed to add a little bit more to suspense and whatnot. And I love how it's like, okay, we had a lot of missiles. We were doing a great job. I love how the secretary, yeah. It's like, does anybody have any more missiles left? But we'll get to that in a second. Yes. It's like the president tells off Secretary of, no, the only mistake that I made ever was, yeah. But also he gets down and prays with Judd Hirsch. So yeah, I think you're backed up in the you might be backed up in the chat again, dude. Geek Detective Pierce, you might be backed up in the chat because I'm talking about the final battle right now. So yeah, there's the it's like, we're not done yet. Does anybody have any more missiles? And it's like, get as far away as you can. And it's like, sorry, I'm late, Mr. President. Got a little hung up back there. And it's like, pilot, identify yourself. It's me, Russell Case, sir. I told you I wouldn't let you down. It's like, pilot, you armed? I'm armed and ready, sir. I'm packing. Well, it doesn't work. Did you know that Richard Epcar, voice of the Joker, provided ADR? Really? Isn't that interesting? Where does he voice the Joker? That is interesting. Where does he voice the Joker? So yeah, good to see you, Christian Freights. But so then we see that he's looks at his family or his kids' photos, and it's like, do me a favor. This scene always gets me to tear up. Tell my children I love them very much. I can actually feel the freaking feeling you get back when you're with the Joker and Injustice. Oh, all right, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. But yeah, when he's getting ready to go up, fly into that thing, it's like, oh, damn, dude. Tell my children I love them very much. It's like, all right, you alien assholes. In the words of my generation, up yours. It is just so freaking great, man. And then he's like, hello, boys, I'm back. And then he destroys the ship. And it's like, oh, shit. There you go. And I love Bill. He's like, he did it. The son of a bitch did it. And it causes a chain reaction, destroying the ship, blowing it up from the inside and whatnot, which is great. And then you get that beautiful swell of music. Frank Welker did the vocal effects of the aliens. Nice. That's pretty cool. And so it's like, now we know how to take him out. General, spread the word. And they go out on Morse code. Not tyranny, oppression, or persecution. Yeah. There you go. So, sorry about that, folks. Had to mute for a second. And so they all get back in, many celebrations. However, we then cut back into outer space where they think that it's game over. So they light their cigars. Only one thing left to do, right? Yes, sir. And I love the aliens' reaction, man. Hey, hello, MK Fan 11. Good to see you. And thank you. Thank you, Corey. So I love how it's like, hello, goodbye. Take a look at the Earthling. And I love the aliens' reaction. It's like, what? It's like, huh? You think they have any idea what's about to happen to them? Not a chance in hell. Good night. Peace. Boom. Launches the freaking nuke. That is such a great freaking line, dude. It's like, peace. And just nuke. It's like, oh, shit. I love the alien. It's like, and then you have the skull and crossbones laughing with the evil laughter. And you see this other alien is like basically looking at these things. It's all over the place. It's like, I'm thinking to myself, the alien's probably saying, dude, what is it, all this shit all over my screen? What happened to my soap opera? And then the freaking missile just crashes in the back of it. It's like, oh, shit, that hurt. So they're getting out, and it's like, I ain't heard no fat lady. Forget about the fat lady. You're obsessed with the fat lady. Drive us out of here. And so when the door to the ship is starting to close, you get the Jurassic Park line. Must go faster. Must go faster. Must go faster. Go, 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 go. Elvis has left the building. And it's like, oh, thank you very much. Oh, man, I love you, man. And, well, then the nuke goes off. It is such a great, yes, it is. It is such a great moment when the nuke goes off. And I'm like, that is a big fucking nuke, man, because it created it totally atomized that damn mothership. It totally atomized it. And you then see the boys get caught in the blast wave, so you think they may have died. Fun fact number 2, 22 million copies in the U.S., becoming the best-selling live-action VHS. Nice! I do remember when my brother got the VHS of Independence Day, it had one of those cool effect covers that if you turned it one way or the other, you could see the White House blowing up. It was just freaking cool. He got one of those specialized covers. And I do remember that. It's like, I wish I got all the cool shit. My older brother was always getting the cool shit. So then we're seeing the celebrations, but Russell's son is proud of him finally. And Gary Hecker, who collaborated with Zack Snyder, did vocal effects for the aliens as well. Nice. I also thought, well, Frank Welker as well, apparently. So we then, it's like, any news from our delivery boys? We lost contact with Captain Hiller and Mr. Levinson. And it's like, wait, sir, we got something on radar. Oh, they're doing their heroic walk away from the crash. It's like, how did you guys survive in a freaking nuclear blast wave and entering the Earth's atmosphere? How did you survive? I'm guessing the only reason why they survived was because they started entering Earth's atmosphere just as the shockwave hit them. So it's like, you're at the right point to protect you from the impact of the Earth's atmosphere, but they still ended up crashing. And yes, Jeff Goldblum is always a winner. And except for in Thor Ragnarok. But anyway, I like how they have the women get up there jumping on him and whatnot, and the president's now on good terms with David. He's like, David, not bad. Thank you, Mr. President. Not too bad at all. And you see the ships wrecking all over the world, which is nice. The Sydney Opera House is still standing. Thank God they didn't destroy that. You see them crashed on the pyramids. You see them crashed on Area 51's mountain. And, yeah. And it's like, wonder if Lethal Lightning was born at that time. He would have been like a toddler or some shit. So, yeah. Bill Pullman's speech had excellence. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so his father's like, oh, so this is healthy? Well, I can get used to it. So what is the review? You just missed the review, Timmy Olsen. I just did Independence Day, the director's cut, for my mystery review today. However, next week, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard is when you can catch the next one. But I also will be going over stuff that I'm going to be doing this week, so just stay on, please. How would I compare aliens in the film with other aliens, such as the Xenomorph, Yautja, Predators, the Na'vi from Avatar? Or I'll have to. Thank you so much, dude. Prawns from District 9, aliens from They Live. These ones were the closest to gray aliens that you could get without being gray aliens, so they're cool. Xenomorphs are always going to be my favorite aliens, aside from the Yautja. Yautja always have a special place in my heart. Prawns were okay. The Na'vi were, well, jungle people and water people. soon going to be rockin' volcanic people. And they live evil capitalist aliens. White House scene was homaged in the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Nice. Yeah. So that is the end of the movie. Objectively, the theatrical edition of Independence Day, the theatrical is 8 minutes shorter. It is about an 8 out of 10. The director's cut is about a 9 out of 10. They added extra stuff to give you a little bit more story. However, a couple of things they could have left out. The special effects are still very much dated. Improving them would go a long way, but because you can see that the jets are really kind of stop motion-ish. So yeah, there is that. You got a comic that you're doing? Good luck on it. So yeah. From Alien, do you think they will ever put it in? Depends on what the scene was. There is a special edition to Alien, so they have a special edition and the original edition. Tim Olsen. But yes, subjectively, theatrical is about an 8.5, where the subjective or with the director's cut is still a 9. Moviegoer, it's 10 out of 10. Both editions, they're both good, but I do like the extended edition a lot better, with exception to that one very corny scene. Oh, it looks like we're getting a thunderstorm. As for, yeah, this movie is good. I recommend anybody see it. It does, or I hope it goes to National Film Registry this December. That'd be cool. What do I got going on? Tonight I'm going to be doing the Barroom podcast with my buddy Society Reviews on his channel. So go to Society Reviews channel, give him a subscription or subscribe to his channel. He does great work. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. We'll be discussing Hollywood and stuff. Also, tomorrow I'm going to be on Mara Jade's channel, Jade Shadow, where we discuss the 1s and 2s. We're starting with Jaws because it's the perfect 4th of July film, aside from this one. And Sundays we return with Captain America Civil War on Infinity Saga Sundays. We might have an extra person showing up on that one with the rest of the Hat Crew. And yeah, I will be getting other movies and reviews and stuff as I see them. So thank you so much for tuning in. Check out my reviews for latest reviews, my reviews playlist. I have reviews for like Nick Cage's Renfield, Nick Cage's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and the Batman, The Doom That Came to Gotham, the Cthulhu one. Thank you. So check those out. I could always use more views on that. I'm trying to get my watch time up because it's just continuously dropping like a meteor, folks. So if you can, please watch my playlists. It really does help get the time back up. I'm trying to get it to 4,000 hours so I can get monetized. But thank you so much to everybody in the chat. Vanya, Christian, Timothy, Kamen Rider, Geek Detective Pierce, MK11 fan. Who else? Thank you to Nia Zoke as well for modding. Thank you to Black Dragon. Anglo Joan or Anglo Jackson. Kamen Rider 64. And who else? Davian Donaldson, thank you so much. Iman, the Rich, the Swag Lord, thank you so much. Rhetorical Thrill, always a pleasure to have you in the chat. Rocky the Black Dragon, thank you so much for being in. And Steve Kenobi, thank you so much for being on, listening in a little bit. It all helps, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for next week. The hint for next week, I gave it earlier. It is a 30-year-old movie. I will be giving you more hints if you follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is Orange Hat Reviews. There's the Orange Hat 2185. That's my backup. Follow me at Patriot. This here is my this is the one that you could follow me on Patriot or it's orange without the A because I couldn't fit it otherwise. It's Orange Hat Patriot. You can follow me there. I have a tweet that has over 2,800 likes, which never happens to me. That's pretty cool. But yes, this is my main one. Look for the blue check for Orange Hat Reviews. You'll find me there on Twitter. I also have a Rumble. I have a Odyssey as well. Barely use it. You can also find me on Facebook if you or just look up Orange Hat Reviews. You might be able to find my real profile there too. Anyway, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. Y'all have a wonderful holiday if you're in America. Everybody elsewhere, thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful day, and always remember, stay humble.